Hi everyone, this is Miss Gooden. Today we are going to be covering lesson 1.3 from our 3rd grade Florida Go Math textbook. We're going to be estimating sums, and if you're in my class, you should be filling out page 13. Our learning goal for this lesson says use compatible numbers and rounding to estimate sums. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to use compatible numbers and rounding to estimate sums. Here is our learning scale for this lesson. You might notice that it is the same as lesson 1.2. A level 1 says that you can compare numbers. Level 2 says I can tell which end of a number line is closer to a number. We won't really be using very much of that today. Our target, level 3, I can round whole numbers to the nearest 10 or 100. And level 4, I can round numbers to any place. Our essential question that I would like you to be able to answer tomorrow at the end of our lesson in your own words is how can you use compatible numbers and rounding to estimate sums? Alright, let's go ahead and jump into this problem. This is the Unlock the Problem Real World problem on page 13. Here it is. It says the table shows how many dogs went to Pine Lake Dog Park during the summer months. About how many dogs went to the park during June and August. You can estimate to find about how many or about how much. An estimate is a number close to an exact amount. So before we jump into this math problem, there's a few things I want to review. Remember that about is a clue word. Go ahead and underline that for me in the math word problem. Anytime you see that clue word, that tells you that you need to round or estimate, so pay close attention. We also need to know what an estimate is. It is a number that is close to an exact amount. This is something you'll use in the real world too. One time I had to have some repair work done on my car and I knew it would be really expensive, so I took it to the shop, and before they started working on it, I asked them to give me an estimate. A number that would be close to the exact amount so I could plan for how much it was going to actually cost me. Okay? We also need to talk about what is a sum. This should be a review word for you. You should already know that a sum is the answer to an addition problem. So I am going to be rounding and estimating to find sums. First, I need to know how many dogs went to the park in June and August. I can get that information right here in this table. It gives me the exact numbers. I have 432 dogs in June and 489 dogs in August. Now, one strategy that I can use to estimate sums is compatible numbers. Compatible numbers are numbers that are easy to compute mentally and are close to the real numbers. They've already given me 425 and 475 as compatible numbers. I think they've chosen this for a few reasons. One, it's easy to add these digits, 5 plus 5, 2 plus 7, and 4 plus 4. I am also looking at these last two digits in the word or in the numbers. I have 25 and 75. When I think about that in terms of money, if I had 25 cents plus 75 cents, that equals $1. So 75 plus 25 equals 100, and I can regroup that pretty quickly. But let's go ahead and actually add. I have 5 plus 5, that equals 10, so I'm going to write a 0 and carry a 1. 1 plus 2 equals 3, and 3 plus 7 equals 10, so I write a 0 and carry another 1. 1 plus 4 equals 5, and 5 plus 4 equals 9. So about 900 dogs went to Pine Lake Dog Park during June and August. Now I know that there are two more questions at the bottom of page 13. We're going to skip them for right now. Don't cross them out, but just skip them and turn your pages over to 14. Alright, so on the back of what we just did, we're going to use another strategy to estimate the sum, and that strategy is using place value, and we're going to be using what we learned in the previous lesson about rounding, so I hope you remembered. They gave me some steps to walk me through it just in case we need some help. First though, I need to decide to what place I'm going to round. right here. It says first find the place to which you want to round. Round both numbers to the same place. The greatest place value of 432 and 489 is hundreds. So for this, I'm going to round to the nearest hundred. You could round to the nearest 10, but I am choosing to round to the nearest hundred. You can do whichever you would like. So first I need to round 432 to the nearest hundred. My first step is to underline the digit that I am rounding to. So I underline 4. I look to the number to the right. It's 3. Remember that rhyming device. 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, I give it a rest. Since 3 is less than 5, I am going to give this digit 4 a rest and keep it the same. But everything after this underlined digit changes to a 0. So 432 rounded to the nearest hundred is 400. Step 2 says to round 489 to the nearest hundred. I'm going to use those same steps I just used. I underline the digit in the hundreds place. I look to the number to the right. It's an 8. Remember 5 or more, I raise the score. 4 or less, I give it a rest. 8 is greater or more than 5, so I'm going to raise the score and increase this digit by 1. So it becomes a 5, and the digits after it change to 0. So 489 rounded to the nearest hundred is 500. Now I'm ready to find the sum of my rounded numbers. I have 400 plus 500. 0 plus 0 equals 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. And 4 plus 5 is 9. So 432 plus 489 is about 900. Now I know that is a reasonable estimate because when I used the other strategy of compatible numbers in the first part of the video, I also got 900. So here are two strategies you can use to estimate sums. You have compatible numbers and using place value. Now it's time for us to write our little secret code word for this lesson. Since our word problem was about dogs, I'm going to go ahead and choose dog as the secret code word. So write it right here next to that green box, and that tells me that you watched the entire video. If you have questions about what we did, please write them on your paper or leave me a comment on my blog. I look forward to seeing you in class to finish this lesson.